Yo, what's going on, folks? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Want to talk to you a little bit about something I've always had a little bit of trouble with, but I think it's really important as day traders to have the ability to just focus in on a few plays. And so a lot of this is statistics in terms of this is something that happened to me. So, today I was up $1,600, which is okay, but I had the opportunity for a much bigger day. But what tended to happen was there was so much action going on today. If you look at the market, there were some huge flushes in a lot of stocks. And so rather than focusing on one or two of the best ones and really hammering them, what ended up happening was, at the open, I went short like a handful of plays. More plays than, I could really count. And so what happened was, like, I was short this LB. Beautiful setup, right? This is like your opening range breakdown. And so this thing is riding down. Perfect. So I'm short this at the open. But then what happened was, I was also short this Jack. And this stock went the opposite way. And I also was short Tesla. And, I made $1,900 short in Tesla. But what ended up happening was I took three of the same setup, and they were all wild. And so what ends up happening is stocks can get away from you. As a trader, you can only focus on so much stuff. And so I had 4 or 5 setups that I was really looking at, but I really thought that, Tesla and LB, because of the daily charts, were like my favorite. Jack was okay, but I had not traded that stock before, and so it was more of a B-level setup for me. But when I got the inkling that, all these stocks were going to tank today, you could see my watch list, right? This whole thing is red except for 2 stocks. I was really gung-ho to just start hammering these things, and I got really good entries on my trades. But what ended up happening was, because I was in so many, I was really hopping in and out of some stuff right at the open, what ended up happening was I was letting some stocks kind of slip away, meaning they were getting too far ahead of where I thought they were going to go, because you can only control or manage so many stocks. And so, what ended up happening was, like on this W, I took a short in this, and I actually, I had this on a 1-minute chart as an ORB, and it actually did okay. And so you can see what happened here was, it gapped down and it spiked and it broke under VWAP. I shorted this thing like right at 38, and it popped down to 37, and I covered half my share. So I was in a profit, right? I was in a profit $1 in a few minutes, which is pretty good. And you always got to take off some of your profits, right? Take some of your shares up. But what I did was, I covered half, and then the rest of it started to rise. And so what ended up happening was my gain turned into a loss. Not because, I was being so reckless or I am reckless or anything like that. But the main reason was that, I was hopping in so many plays because I had so many good ideas. I got excited that I lost track of some of them. And even when I saw it going up, my focus was on some of these other plays. And so I wasn't able to move as fast and, more importantly, as decisively as I needed to get out of some of them. And so that cost me. On this W, I was up $500. And, I ended up losing $700, and that's just unacceptable. To be up $500 and lose $700 is a $1,200 turnaround. So add that to your P&L. Right now you're at $3,000. And so, you're going from a decent day to an excellent day from just a small mistake, right? Look, if you cover half, put a stop at your buy price or at your nearest level of resistance, and kind of turn it into a free trade. Maybe it does what LB does, and it trends all day, which is what we want, but you don't always know, right? You have 2 of the same setups, and they're the same share characteristics. One could trend all day, and one couldn't. We don't always know. We just know what the characteristics of the stocks that could do that are. And then we just let it play out. And so this could have done that, but it didn't. And so if it's not doing this, I need to put my stop and then really minimize my risk. You know, I would have been up a few $100 on this thing instead of getting snaked out. And this is where being greedy really comes into play. Is that, you know, later on you can see this thing was riding up and it broke under, and you know, I ended up shorting this thing and having a nice gain. But you know, I let it ride all the way back again because I was being greedy. Excuse me. I was being greedy because, you know, I was down on the stock and I had made that initial mistake. And I ended up with this perfect trade. And I was actually up on it really well. And then guess what? I didn't cover my shares because I was being greedy. And I was losing focus because I was in too many plays. I was really hammering this Tesla today. You can see I made a couple G's on this thing, trading, you know, 100, 200 shares of this at a time. But I let this thing come back and I turned it into a loss again. So moral of the story is, when you have gains, lower your stop loss, minimize your risk. Of course, we all know that, right? I mean, that's just trading 101. But you still have to go out and do it, because no matter how long you trade, it's always, you know, it's always going to be something that's on the table. But the other lesson for today is that, you know, be careful of how many stocks you're trying to get in and out at one time. You know, focusing in on a handful of the best ones will allow you to get more elongated gains and like bigger chunks on those moves, because you can focus versus, you know, other ones. Like, you know, I had this NVIDIA, you know, as an idea today too. And, you know, I mean, this is, you know, a couple $1,000 trade, if not more. But, you know, I ended up taking like, what, a few $100 on it because I was just too much all over the place. And that's something that, you know, I still, after all these years and all these trades, have to always be cognizant of is, you know, reminders. And one of the things, like, I like to leave myself reminders on sticky notes on one of my monitors every day. You know, leave yourself a reminder if you're having trouble. I kind of remember this. You know, the more times you ingrain it, the more likely you can make it into a habit. So I hope that helps, guys. I'll see you in a little bit, but feel free to leave me any questions. We have a free chat day coming in on the 28th, so make sure to check it out. The link will probably be on the Bulls on Wall Street website, but we always have a free chat day every couple weeks. So come and check me out, man. I put on one hell of a show. Take care, guys. Peace.
Thanks for watching. If you like that video, subscribe right here. If you want to watch more videos, click right there.